Hello, everyone. Thanks for checking in with Callie. It looks like Clippers coach Ty Lue is having mixed emotions about James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Now, once he was interviewed in a post game, I believe, after the Nuggets win, and he mentioned that, the plan is to keep James Harden and Russell Westbrook separated from each other in regards to being on the floor at the same time. Now, of course, as he said, or as he stated in his statement, that's the plan. That's what the goal is. But I mean, it can basically change from night to night, pending on a game basis, depending on, how it goes within the game. And I definitely, appreciate that comment because, he's definitely trying to see ultimately what in the long run will work better for everybody. And that's a good sign. I will give him that. But the only problem with that is I will say, at this point right now, I still believe Russell Westbrook should be in the starting lineup because, like I said, when we talk about pushing the pace and making the Clippers a little bit different dynamically, not so slow, not so, slow pace like that, it really can ruin a lot of their chemistry in regards to when it can ruin their gameplay, I should say, when they're playing against better competition. Because if you're playing that slow style basketball with James Harden and he's so ball dominant the way he is, and a lot of times when you watch James Harden, he'll dribble down the court, call a play, just like he did on other teams as well. But once he get the pick and roll, he'll step back and shoot. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you have a point guard who does things like that, that's the type of basketball I don't think that's going to win championships. You got to have a point guard who's more receptive to, finding everybody else and eating afterwards. You see what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, hypothetically, if they had somebody like Mike Conley. Mike Conley is one of those type point guards where, he's going to run down, he's going to call the play, get everybody in their sets, but more likely off a pick and roll, Mike Conley is really looking to pass. He's never really looking to score himself. He's looking to find a Kawhi Leonard, find a Paul George off a pick, or find Kawhi in isolation 17 feet from the basket and let him operate with plenty of space. He's not going to try to, dribble, step back, and then when the double team comes or the guys in his face, try to pass it off then and try to find the player that maybe can find a higher percentage shot. That's somebody who's looking for their shot first in a lot of situations, and then when they can't find their shot, now they're looking for an scapegoat to pass to somebody else because they can't get their shot off. And a lot of times when you watch James Harden, that's the way his game is predicated. That's the way his game is. And with a player's game being like that, that means that player has more of a scoring mentality rather than an assist mentality. James Harden is just very, gifted in regards to being able to assist the ball the way he can. But his first mentality really is always a score, because we remember James Harden having 60-point games with 12 assists and 15 assists. So you see what I'm saying? So I remember a couple games where he had a stat line like that or close to that. So my point is, his main option is really just to score. It's not really to facilitate, even though he's really good at it. But really, when you watch James Harden facilitate, as I told you guys before, he gets a lot of his assists off of the 5 position, which is the big man, the center. That's the reason why him and Joel work so good together. That's the reason why him and Clint Capella back in the day on Houston, when he made Clint Capella look like a damn all-star. That's the reason why Clint Capella looked that good back in the day, because James Harden gets a lot of his assists off of the big man, because it's pick and roll, straight to the basket, dunk the ball for the big man, easy 2 points. Because James Harden is such a threat scoring wise, it really makes the opposing team back off or kind of standoffish, because they don't know whether the pick and roll, of course, is really going to be for Zubac now that he's on the Clippers, or James Harden is going to fake the pick and roll and, just take the jump shot, the 17-foot jump shot itself, or step back and take the 3, or maybe possibly even pass it to, Kawhi or PG on the wing, or maybe at the top of the key of the perimeter, or however. But I'm just saying like I said, when you watch James Harden, it's really the James Harden show, what it looks like a lot of times, especially now that you watch the Clippers. And going forward, I really think it's going to be more of that too. Like I spoke in my previous videos, the system has actually been put in, and I definitely think James Harden is taking over this team more than what even Kawhi and PG know. But I mean, at the same time, I definitely think that Ty Lue's what he's saying sounds good, and it sounds like a good enough plan for him to go with, because based upon the matchup and who they're going against, they got to figure out ways to keep them separate within the game, because them both being on the floor, if you're playing against somebody like a Denver Nuggets or something like that, or maybe even like a Lakers or whoever, better competition. When you're playing against somebody like that, less turnovers is going to be a lot better. When you're playing against a team like, I don't know, maybe the New York Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets or something like that, it's not going to make much of a difference probably if, both of them are on the floor at the same time or not, because, a team like that, they should beat really off their talent regardless. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, when you think about it from that standpoint, Ty Lue has a point there. But like I said, if James Harden is going to be running this team offense the whole year going into the playoffs, you better watch out, because it's very, very skeptical to me, and it's very, very hard for me to believe that they can win a championship, because any offense that James Harden has ran has not made it to the finals. Any offense that James Harden was the guy as far as running the offense, point guard, all that type stuff, what NBA finals have they went to? None. You see what I'm saying? At one point, we can at least say this. When Russell Westbrook was with Kevin Durant way back in the day, I know it was way back in the day, but he was the point guard for them. He was their point guard. And he played a little bit of combo guard, shooting guard, of course, but he played a point guard role, and they found themselves in the finals. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you can call it what you want, but that's pretty much the facts. So, I mean, it's like however you want to look at it, with James Harden being in control of the ball mostly, your chances of winning a championship is very, very slim to me. So, I mean, it's like, to me, I'm hoping at some point that Ty Lue comes to the realization where, he sees that he can get more out of Kawhi and PG on a consistent basis throughout the nights with Russell Westbrook being in the starting lineup. Because see, with James Harden in the starting lineup, you see most of the time it's like, PG will have a good game, Kawhi have a so-so game, or Kawhi have a good game, PG will have a so-so game. It's not enough consistent nights where you look at, Kawhi and PG, and they're both like dominating how they were before. And like I said, if they want to win a championship, both of them got to be averaging somewhere around, 24, 25 points a game. Both of them, not one of them, both of them. I mean, that's just the way it's going to have to be. I mean, now, I'll say this much. If they can, like I said before, if all of them, 3 out of 4 of their star players can get 20 plus points a night and have that balance, that's great. But I don't see that really happening because, like I said, it depends on the team they're playing. It depends on the matchups. It depends on all that. You see what I'm saying? Kawhi's going to get double teamed a lot just because he's the best player on the team. Paul George is going to get double teamed at times because he's the second best player on the team. Paul George is going to have a better matchup a lot of nights, and so will James Harden. But if James Harden turns into the James Harden, the scoring James Harden, and forget about the assist James Harden, well, that takes away from Kawhi and or PG and their superpowers to, basically shut a game down and, basically take a game over. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, really, with Harden on the floor, I know a lot of you guys might not see it, but Harden really takes away from one or both of them at times. That's why you've seen games where, hell, Paul George had like 8 points, 15 points, and Kawhi had points like that too. Because it's like I said, depending on what James Harden comes out that night, they want him to be aggressive and all these other type things. But depending on what James Harden steps out on the floor, he might be the scoring James Harden. If he's the scoring James Harden, if he has that mentality, if he's hot and he's on fire, okay, that's good. But if he's not on fire and if he's like kind of cold, lukewarm or something like that, that's going to hurt their chances because James Harden doesn't play defense. And there again, that's where Russ is more valuable. Russ is not the greatest defender, but Russ will defend the hell out of you. I don't care who you are. He will bump you. He will get up in your, what? He'll do that. Russ is a rough rider like that. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those, he's one of those types. You see what I'm saying? So he'll play hard on both ends of the floor. Russ is never going to cheat you with effort. And see, that's the difference right there. When you got somebody in the starting lineup that has that type of energy, and then hypothetically, of course, Terrence Mann, he was going to be in the starting lineup. But I mean, if you put him in the starting lineup with Terrence Mann, Russell Westbrook, I'm talking about, you have two energy guys on the floor with two wing players who play both ends of the court, and Zubac is the big man in the middle, just to hold down the fort as much as he can until Tice comes in and or Mason Plumlee comes back for him to come in and start playing the way he plays. So I'm saying, like, to me, that's a lot better because, like I said, that's how it was before, and that's how it started this season, and it looked like something promising. With James Harden, I'm not saying it couldn't possibly work. I'm just saying that I've never seen a team where James Harden was running the offense and they made it to the NBA Finals and won it.